rent a property. I'll be having a further discussion on whether you should buy or rent a property. So like I used to say, my name is Ben. If this is the first time on this channel, you want to know about living, investing, sleeping, business in Winnipeg, Manitoba, make sure you tap the subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified anytime we do a new video. We got so many people reaching out to us about planning on moving to Winnipeg, and we absolutely love it. So if you're planning on moving to Winnipeg, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, however you want to get to us, because we got your back in moving to Winnipeg. Now I'll be talking about an important topic about whether you should buy or rent a property. Now, just my thoughts and my opinion towards the whole topic about buying or renting. Now, if you like I said in my previous video before this, if you choose to buy a property, you buy a property. You can choose to buy a property and live there. Either both, or you could choose to rent. Now, if you choose to buy instead of renting, it actually comes with its own responsibilities. Now, the responsible for paying more on the property, probably paying the mortgage, making sure that the monthly mortgage is being paid, and other things that comes with buying the property. Now, if you buy a property, now you have to make sure you make your payment. Now, if you don't make your payment, then your property might go into foreclosure, and eventually they sell your property and you lose your property, and that is also one of the disadvantages of buying a property. Now, if you choose to buy a property, make sure that you are able to meet with all good things, with all things being equal, make sure that you are able to make your monthly payments. Now, that is basically that you're going to be mortgaging the property for 15, 20 or 25 years, whatever you choose, the property, and you are going to be paying some monthly installment. All things being equal, you understand, nothing happens, you are able to make the complete payment and everything is good. Now, disadvantage is that if you're unable to make the payment, the house is taken away from you, and it goes into foreclosure. When you talk about renting, the advantage is that you can choose to live anytime. You can use the property and move to another location. You have freedom of location. You can choose to move at any time. It's easy, as it's flexible to move, unlike when you buy a house in which you have to stay in that house for a number of years for you to be able to resell the house, if you want to resell the house. Another advantages is that if something damages in the house, you have to you can just call the owners of the property. They come and fix it, and that is basically the advantages of owning of renting. And the disadvantage of renting is that, number one, is that some markets, the cost of renting might be higher than the cost of buying. Now, the cost of renting might be higher than the cost of buying a house. So sometimes it depends on the market that you are in. You just have to check to ensure that the cost of buying the cost of renting is not higher than the cost of buying. Now, another thing is security. Now, people that buy, the advantage of buying a house is that sometimes when you buy a house, you feel secure. It's like you're secured, it's yours, you can do whatever you want in the house, and it's secured. And those are basically the advantages of buying or renting. Now, my take concerning buying or renting a house is basically, for everyone, I would suggest that either you're buying, that's my opinion, or renting, make sure you invest in owning the property, and that is the key word. Now, you must invest in owning the property. You must look towards acquiring your home properties. We help people also acquire rental properties. Now, we look at there's some things that we look at to ensure that this property will give you a positive cash flow. Now, buying a property, now another of the discussion is, should you buy a multi-family or a single family? Around, I personally tends towards buying a multi-unit, I will always advise that, from my own opinion, is that when you're buying a property, you could go for 4 units. It's not wise to buy a house and not thinking about the investment, thinking about how you can turn the liability into an asset. Now, because a house, basically, when you go into that house, it's a liability because you have to pay for mortgages, you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that. How can you live in a house? Is there a way you can creatively live in a house and not pay for all these out of pocket? And that is where I'm always I feel people miss out on. I just wanted to share my own opinion. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy a house, but you should also look at, if you want to buy a house, how do I, most of the rich people look at how they can, they can turn their liabilities into assets. You get me? Like yesterday, I was listening to a guy that wanted to buy a private jet. He was thinking about how he's going to use that same private jet, you understand me, as a charter, while he's not making use of a private jet. That is wise. The private jet is not going to be a liability. It's going to turn that liability into one way as an asset, and that's the way I look at property. Now, most first time home buyers that I know of majorly just go and rush to buy a house, and they want to buy a rental property. And if you want to get a rental property, if you don't have 20% down, you can't buy it. Why don't you use that money that you have, basically, and invest? I think a home buyer, probably you can pay a lesser down payment. Now, if you use that lesser down payment, and use it to buy a fourplex, or a unit in which you can live in unit and sublet the other unit, while making your tenants or whoever is living in those other units pay for the mortgages and the likes. And that is the area in which I'm looking at. Buy a house in which you can monetize your expenses. You can let people pay for such expenses, instead of and when you're fully ready, you can go buy your dream house. That is the way I look at it, and that is the information I just wanted to share. I just want to share my own opinion towards renting and buying. So like I said, if you're planning on moving to Winnipeg, like I used to say, give us a call, send us a text, send us an email, however you want to get to us, because we got your back in moving to Winnipeg. Until my next video, I'll catch you later.